Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Vice Chairman Kaiser, and members of the committee. My name is Naomi Lopez, and I'm Director of Healthcare Policy at the Goldwater Institute. Thank you for the opportunity to offer my support of Senate Bill 1163 and the ways a proposal can promote individualized healthcare treatments for those who are running out of time. Imagine that there's a new treatment for a rare disease that you or a loved one are facing. It's custom made based on the patient's own genetic profile. It offers hope, but you can't access it, even though your doctor says it could save your life. The reason? Federal regulations are ancient by today's standards and the rapid progress of medical innovation. They're not designed to allow these new individualized treatments. Arizona now has the opportunity to lead the nation in solving this particular problem and save lives by passing a new law called Right to Try for Individualized Treatments. Under the original Right to Try Act, which Arizona lawmakers led nationally, patients now have the right to seek treatments that are safe enough to be used in clinical trials, but remain under clinical evaluation for final FDA approval. With almost unanimous support in 41 states, the Federal Right to Try Act was later signed into law in 2018, and it is now the law of the land. And we know that the law is working. Today, this law needs to be modernized to account for the rapid advancements in medicine, such as gene therapy, which aren't covered under the original Right to Try law. And that's where Right to Try for Individualized Treatments, or Right to Try 2.0, comes in. Many of the medical innovations being pioneered today have made it possible to take an individual's genetic information and create a treatment for that individual person. But the current clinical trial evaluation system, which was created more than half a century ago, isn't keeping pace with these modern medical advances. And the end result is that individualized treatment is still subject to the same clinical trial process as single treatments that are intended for hundreds or even thousands of patients. And that doesn't recognize how these new individualized treatments work. It's a mismatch from a regulatory perspective. Right to Try for Individualized Treatments accounts for new innovations, and it helps get those innovations to the patients that need them most. Arizona has the opportunity to continue to lead on the important goal of getting the right treatment to the right patient at the right time. The state is already home to some of the world's leading medical innovators and facilities, and removing the government red tape that stands in the way of these promising individualized treatments does not require additional taxpayer investment, and it can be achieved in a manner that ensures patient safety and informed consent. Arizona lawmakers have the authority as well as the legislative vehicle to unleash the potential of today's medical innovation to further benefit patients. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Mr. Kaiser.
Just a quick comment, Madam Chair, on the bill. This reminds me a lot of the biomarker testing bill that we heard earlier when you're talking about individualized kind of gene therapy treatment, understanding what the problem is through testing and then attacking the problem specifically. And this reminds me of that from a different angle, so I'm very supportive of this bill. Thank you for bringing it.
Thank you. Ms. Powers-Hammer?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks for your testimony today. You said that the original Right to Try bill that was passed by the state of Arizona worked, and so I was wondering if you could tell us how many patients used the Right to Try bill and how many of them survived with the experimental treatments from that bill.
Madam Chair, Representative Powers-Hanley, thank you for that question. We actually don't know how many, and the reason is because the federal rule that requires manufacturers to report to the federal government, those rules have not been finalized. We're expecting them any day now from the Biden administration, but once those rules are finalized at the federal level, we will be able to have an answer. That information will be reported to Congress on an annual basis. I do know of some cases of Right to Try and some Right to Try programs, but we're a private, nonprofit organization. No one is required to report anything to us, so I don't really have a definitive number, but I can tell you that we're seeing some rapid breakthroughs in important areas such as glioblastoma, which has about a 5% survival rate. We are seeing a lot of promise there. One of the treatments that has a Right to Try program, that treatment is actually being considered by the European Medicines Agency for approval. So we know that it is working.
Follow-up?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. And so this particular drug did not go through clinical trials. It was only randomly tried by people off-label?
Madam Chair, Representative Powers Hanley. So the way that right to try, as well as this bill that is currently before you, is written is that it works in tandem with the clinical evaluation system. There is nothing being done that is random or that medical professionals would deem as unsafe. For example, under the original right to try law, only treatments that have passed phase 1 of clinical trials and remain under clinical evaluation are eligible for right to try. And there are a number of other requirements under the federal law in order to proceed with the treatment. Under this current proposal, we have used federal requirements for informed consent and patient safety to ensure that patients are being kept safe and that we are abiding by the federal rules that are already in place.
Thank you for that. Ms. Butler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. Does the expansion that this bill is contemplated, has that already been done in other states, or is Arizona the first to expand to do this?
Madam Chair, Representative Butler, thank you for that question. So this is the first state where we have introduced right to try for individualized treatments. Arizona leads the way in so many areas of healthcare innovation, and of course the Goldwater Institute is based here. We are introducing this legislation here in Arizona first, but it will be introduced this year in several other states as well.